Okay, so in the section Context Inequality Systems Graphically, we're going to be writing some inequalities again from word problems. So let's first read the problem. We're going to write down everything we know, and then we're going to have to convert these equations so that y is by itself on that left side. So Isaiah is working 2 summer jobs, making $8 per hour walking dogs and making $16 per hour tutoring. If in a given week he can work a maximum of 8 total hours and must earn no less than $80. If X represents the number of hours walking dogs and Y represents the number of hours tutoring, write and solve a system of inequalities graphically and determine one possible solution. So we know that X is walking dogs already. We know that Y is tutoring. We know that he makes $8 per hour walking dogs. And when he tutors, he makes $16 per hour. Okay. He can work a maximum of 8 total hours, so less than or equal to 8, and must earn no less than, so $80. He needs to make more than $80, at least $80. Okay, so this is determining the hours he's working. This is determining how much money he makes. So if we're looking at hours he's working, we have that he's going to work hours walking dogs and hours tutoring. So X plus Y is less than or equal to 8. That determines the number of hours he's going to work. And then we need to know 2 things in order to determine how much money he's going to make. How much he makes for each job, which we have, and how many hours he's going to work in order to make the amount of money he needs to make, which is what we're trying to find. So we know he's working X amount of hours walking dogs. He makes $8 per hour walking dogs, plus $16 an hour tutoring, and Y determines the hours tutoring, so that we have our 2 equations now, our 2 inequalities. Okay, the next thing we need to do is to rewrite them so that we can enter them in this box here. Okay, so let's start with X plus Y is less than or equal to 8. Okay, if we wanted to rewrite this so that Y is by itself, all we have to do is subtract X from each side. So we just rewrite this, X plus Y is less than or equal to 8. We need to get Y on the left side by itself. So let's subtract X from each side. We have Y is less than or equal to 8 minus X. And then we can enter that into the box up here, which I'm going to do afterwards. So I'm just going to write this here for now. Y is less than or equal to 8 minus X. Right, and now we want to look at our second inequality that we have and rewrite that. So we have 8X plus 16Y is greater than or equal to 80. Okay, 16Y would be greater than or equal to 80 minus 8X because we wanted to subtract 8X from each side, so it cancels out. Now we need to get Y all by itself, so let's divide everything by 16. Okay, when you do that, this side still becomes Y by itself. It's greater than or equal to 80 divided by 16 minus 8X divided by 16. So 80 divided by 16 is 5, and then minus 8 divided by 16 would be 1/2 X. And that's how we rewrote that equation. So now I'm going to type this in so that you can see what it looks like when you type it in. First inequality was Y is less than or equal to, and you have to use this drop down to put the correct inequality, 8 minus X. So you're just typing it in. plot. It'll do that for you. And then we'll have to work with the shading in just a second. And our second inequality is y is greater than or equal to 5 minus 1/2 x plot. Let's delete all of this right there. Okay? If you look at the first equation, y is less than or equal to, so it wants to be shaded below. And then the second equation, it's greater than, so it needs to be shaded above. So if you look, our overlapping shaded region is right here. Okay, so we want to determine how many hours tutoring and walking dogs. They asked you just to find one possible solution. Okay, so let's just determine one possible solution in this shaded area. Let's say 3, 4, 3, 4 is right here. That's a possible solution. Okay, so he could work 3 hours walking dogs and 4 hours tutoring, right? Because X and Y, so this was walking dogs, and this was tutoring. Okay, so you have the freedom to determine the variables for each part in these problems, unless it asks you to let X be something and Y be something. So in this problem, it told you what the variables were, but in the last section that we did, you were able to choose B and D for walking dogs and babysitting. Okay, so make sure you're reading each problem, writing down the information for each problem on paper, and then using that information to write our inequalities to solve.